Linda's Pantry, and today I'm canning green beans. These are green beans out of my garden. Now, I want to explain something. I'm using the recipe out of the latest, I believe this is the latest one, the all-new Ball Book of Canning and Preserving. Now, my book is falling apart. I'm a little disappointed with that. I think I'm going to put this in a 3-ring binder because big sections of it have fallen out. Ball. Boo. I don't know if I could glue it back or not, but they have a section here on canning potatoes, green beans, and the green beans, there's several different ways to do it. And I'll tell you, this is my favorite way, and it's the green beans and mushrooms. Absolutely delicious. So I've already prepped my green beans and my mushrooms. I'm going to use the timing off of this, everything. These two Fridge Smarts were full of green beans. I put them in here dry and dirty. So this morning I, got them out and I snapped all the beans. They're all washed, they're snapped, and they all fit in here. So this, and I did the same thing with my mushrooms. I sliced them and washed them really well, put them in the salad spinner to get as much moisture off as possible. These will cook together for 5 minutes before they go into the hot jars. And then you pour chicken or beef stock over it. I'm going to use Better Than Bouillon beef today. And I'm going to put these on the shelf. I'm so excited. So what I started doing over a week ago, I started picking green beans a handful at a time, and I put them in the Fridge Smarts until I got both of these full. And they're the ones that were in here at the bottom were the oldest, were just as snappy fresh as the ones I picked this morning. So it definitely kept those beans for almost 2 weeks, absolutely fresh. I would not hesitate to fill up another container even and wait even longer to get a bigger batch. But I'm hoping that I get a nice sized batch for myself. I'm gonna can these in 1.5 pint jars because that's a couple servings for me, 2 or 3 servings for me, or as a side dish. Or that's a perfect amount for a casserole to add a layer of green beans and mushrooms like shepherd's pie. I use them all the time for shepherd's pie, and that's the size jars that I use. So that being said, let's get to canning. I need to get these blanched for 5 minutes. I need to get my Better Than Bouillon all mixed up and get it all ready to go. I'm gonna have my lids simmering just lightly on a simmer, just to get them hot. My jars have gone through the dishwasher and then on a sanitized rinse, which I just do out of habit. That way when I water bath, I've got the same thing going on. All right, guys, you wanna watch this? Come on in. Okay, guys, so we are ready to get the jars filled. I've got my hot, clean jars, and I'm gonna go ahead and I just take the beans and mushrooms out. And you kind of want to, get them packed into your jar pretty good. I'm just taking them out with like a spider spoon kind of thing. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, get as many of these delicious, look how beautiful these are. You want 1 inch of headspace because we're pressure canning. That's pretty standard. So I feel like that's beautiful. And then I'm going to go ahead and I've got some pretty concentrated Better Than Bouillon beef. And I'm going to pour that right down on top. And then when I add it to my shepherd's pie or a pot pie, oh my gosh, the flavor is absolutely spot on. And you're ready to go. So I just move my funnel over. I've got a little bit more I can use for headspace. There we go. And now wipe the rim of my jar. Make sure everybody is submerged and we got no air pockets anywhere. And there you go. Perfect. Love it. Now we can take our magnetic wand and get us a lid and a flat. Guys, it's a busy day in the kitchen today. Trust me. So, fingertip tight. And The main purpose of this ring literally is to hold that lid in place until the jar creates a vacuum seal and it's sealed. Then you take them off the next morning, wash the jars, mark what it is, and look at that. That's absolutely delicious. Now you can use chicken broth, you can certainly use water, but I do not. I use chicken or beef broth. All right, in the canner it goes to wait for the rest of them. My canner is at about 180 degrees, and I'll fast forward and see how we do. Okay guys, I got 5 1.5 pint jars, and so now I know when I get that many green beans how much it'll do. I'm probably going to wait next time because now I've got 3 jars in the canner that are something else. Just so the canner is full, I put 3 jars of water. Now, it's not a bad idea to have some jarred up water on hand, sterile water for if you cut yourself or those kind of things, or just regular drinking water. It's all sealed up, it's sterile, it's great. So I put my lid on. I do not worry at this point whether it's even Steven, because that's why you put these on finger snug right here, just snug. So it holds on. Then you come over across from each other and you do it again. And then as you tighten them down, it equals it out. Okay, this one. Now back here. These are going to can for 30 minutes because that's the timing for quarts. I also want to note that when I do water, I don't waste a button top flat. I use a Tatler lid because they're reusable. Repurpose, reuse, yeah. Okay, so my canner is on the stove. I put this on a 4, and actually once it starts venting, I'll vent it, let a steady stream of steam vent for 10 minutes. Once it vents and I put the weight on, I will turn it down between 4 and 2, and this is not my high ultra heat burner. This is the regular burner. Once this canner gets hot, it's hot. So I can do it pretty low. I think over here even the lowest setting would be too much. There'd be a lot of all the time, and it really doesn't need to go that hot. So I think you get more evacuation if you go too hot for your canner. Just my opinion. But so let's get this up to speed, and then once it vents 10 minutes, then I'll put the weight on. Once it starts dancing, then we're going to time it at 30 minutes. That's all you need. That's per the instructions of the Ball canning book. And yeah, I'm excited to have these back on the shelf, even if it is only 1.5 pint jars. That I probably only eat green beans like this once or twice a month. So that'll get me by until the next picking, and I'll start gathering again. And here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to can up some more for you, and I'm going to do a little bit different version. So hopefully you'll stay along. I'm going to bring you along for every canning session I can. The next one on my list is roasted marinara. All right. Do you want to see that? Leave me a comment. Okay guys, so it is all done. Now, I let my canner, once I've hit that 30-minute mark, I go ahead and turn the burner off, let it come down off the pressure, which honestly takes a good while. And I don't rush anything. I'm not worried about it. It's all part of the deal. And I actually enjoy the whole process. I used to want to rush through it and get it on my shelf and look at it all done, and that's all fine and dandy, but you know what? Look at, I canned water. Isn't that beautiful? So, and it's still boiling in the jar. Even though, okay, so after it comes down off of pressure, I go ahead and I take the weight off. and I let it sit for a couple minutes. Then I unscrew all the thumb screws and I prop it up onto the lid so steam can vent out of it, you know, and come out slowly. After I feel like, you know, it's been a good 10 minutes, then I take the lid off completely and leave it for at least another 5 to 10 minutes. Done. And then I don't feel like I'm rushing the process. So there's no rush, but you do want to take them out of the canner. I've seen some YouTubers go, I'm going to bed, and they leave it in the canner, and you risk having what's called a flat sour. So I'm actually going to leave these 3 jars of water in my food storage, only because, you know, if we had a power outage or who knows, you're going camping, you can take an extra, that's like a bottle of water, it's 16 ounces. What? No, it's more than that. It's a pint and a half. So you could actually have that on hand. I don't foresee me needing that, but you never know. Anyway, okay, here's the big reveal of the green beans and mushrooms. Let's get a really pretty side to it. Oh, look at that. And the mushrooms in there, in that beef broth. Oh, yum. Now, right now they're floating a little bit, even though I blanched them for 5 minutes. Vegetables have air in them. That's why I really never raw pack vegetables either, or meats, for the most part. Now, there are exceptions, but if the vegetable can handle the pre-cooking, I go ahead and do it, because you'll get a lot of floating that way. And I didn't overly pack these really tight. You could, and this one is still really boiling in there. But I'm excited. I'll have 5 1.5 pint jars going on my shelf, and 3 1.5 pints of water. Sterile water. All right. You never know when you might need something like that. And now this canner, the water is perfectly clear. It's great. There you go. I'm so excited. And out of my first garden at my new house, this makes me very happy, guys. In this pot, I have my next canning session. Okay, so this is oven roasted marinara. So I'm gonna leave the canner here on the stove. I'll make sure I have the correct amount to do that, but that will be one of our next videos if you want to see it. So if you do, you gotta leave me a comment down below and give me a thumbs up on this one. And I hope, guys, that you get to can some green beans soon. And yeah, they're great for casseroles, pot pies, side dishes. I mean, they're delicious any way you choose it. And when I do it for my shepherd's pie, I use the broth that's in there to help with the gravy. All right, guys, if you want to see something like that, how I use those, go ahead and leave me a comment as well. And I'm going to see you next time for another delicious recipe. As always, I so appreciate you. And if you like this sort of stuff, I hope you subscribe. All right, bye.